Hello, everybody, and welcome to My CP Does Not Define Me. I tried to play the intro there, and it decided not to work on me. Give me just a second, and let me see if I can get it to run. It's not going to run. All right, so what I've got today is I've got a very special guest and a good friend of mine that's going to come in today. I've been talking about this show all week long, and you guys know when I talk about a good one, it's going to be a good one. And this one, episode 52, can you believe it? It's going to be a great one. Let me introduce my friend and bring him in to the stream with us, Mr. Richard Baldwin of MITS of Virginia, and the mobility expert that I've known most of my life since I was, 22 years old. That was a couple centuries ago, I feel like. I've got food in the refrigerator older than that now. Richard, how are you?
I'm well, DJ. It was in the last millennium.
They say we age quickly, and I guess we do. So, if you would you just tell our folks on www.letgo radio and Facebook Live a little bit about yourself and who you are?
As DJ mentioned to you, I am Richard Baldwin, General Manager of MITS of Virginia. We are a mobility center that specializes in enhancing the lifestyle of individuals that are aged and with limited abilities regarding access to vehicles, most especially, as well as homes and businesses. So we do a lot under one hat, but the majority of what we do is what, DJ, I did with you 20 years ago, and that was get you behind the wheel and make you independent. That's what we do.
Now, that's kind of the first thing that I would like to talk about as everybody comes in. Welcome, www.letgo radio and Facebook Live listeners. Thank you for being here today. Hello, Kimberly. How are you? Hello, Nikki. How are you? Cindy, thank you so much for tuning in. Do you remember how we met? Do you remember how it came to be that you and I got on the page of Richard and DJ, and it became one of the greatest stories of my life? I want to see how much you remember.
Well, first of all, I've got to ask you this. I thought I was your only friend, and I see you got 3 others in the world?
Well, jeez. As of right now.
Boy, you're doing good, DJ. You're doing well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They come up periodically.
Yeah. To answer your question, we are located in the state of Virginia, 5 miles down from what has been the premier rehabilitation center for the state of Virginia, Woodrow Wilson Rehab Center. It's now renamed, as everything is renamed, to Woodrow Wilson Workforce. But the whole key, as you well know, DJ, being a graduate of that center, is to provide independence for individuals with limited abilities. And so you are on the campus as a student, and they have a phenomenal driver evaluation center there. And you know some of them are still there. Susan Gray. I don't know if you remember Susan Gray. Susan Gray retired.
I was going to see how good you were.
Susan Gray retired, and she told me to tell you hi. Glad to see. Yep.
She was my driving instructor.
Yep.
For the evaluation, as well as the driver's ed course.
Yep.
And this was back in from 2000. 2002 to 2001 to 2003. So I had just about graduated. In the last, I think, 6 months to a year, I had to do the driver's course. And
right.
I said, oh Lord. I said, now I got to get a van. I don't know what I'm going to do. And right. It just, it was a big deal. I'm 22, getting ready to graduate. She said, I'm going to introduce you to a guy.
Yep.
We rolled up to MITS of Virginia, and I see this curly-haired young man, well, younger, and
younger, and I was curlier back then. You're right, yeah.
Yes, sir. And I rolled up, and when he stuck out his hand and the energy that came from this man, I said, "Whoa!" And I look on the lot, and he goes, "Well, And I love this because this is the difference now, and we'll get into this a little bit later. You know, going through, I wanted to get a van, and it wasn't just try this one. It was, let me look at you, let me see, you know, what you can do, because I was in a manual chair back
Right.
then.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
And the transition between a manual and the power chair was a big deal for me. You said, no, let me show you. Popped open gosh, a couple of the Chryslers, and I said, wow, it's a side entry ramp. You said, we got side entry, we got rear entry. So we looked at them, and you said, you know what? You put me in a rear entry, and you said, no, it's not going to work for you. You could tell. And I said, this guy's good. It's not about buying a van. It's about what the person needs. And immediately we went through a whole, I think it was a couple-day evaluation. I came back a couple more times, and I started my job at Walmart, you know, once I had graduated, and I said, how am I going to get a van? And we went through the ATFLA, the Assisted Technology Loan Fund.
Authority. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And if I can put a plug in on the stations today, I will tell you the jewel in the state of Virginia's cap regarding the Department of Rehabilitative Services is that particular financing branch called the Assistive Technology Loan Fund Authority, which does nothing but lend money to individuals that want to gain access for mobility, whether it's in a car, whether it's modification of the home, but that's all they do, and they do it well. They do it well.
Yes, they do. They care about the individual almost as much as you do. And
again, yeah.
And I think, you know, my first big question, how did you get started? When did you realize that you weren't just a salesman, that it wasn't just selling vans for you?
Well, if you recall, I may have told you this when you first rolled in on a lot, because I use this term with virtually everybody. All I do is educate. Woodrow Wilson's 5 miles down the road. The reason their students go through our lot during driver evaluation training and so forth is simply because we are educators. You remember, the lot probably had 15 to 20 vehicles on the lot, all different styles, all different shapes, all different models and years.
Boy,
and so, yeah. And so, you know, you get in and out of numerous vehicles that have these particular modifications and these particular challenges show up that you did not know about until you tried them. And our firm belief, try it before you buy it in the mobility world, goes a long way. And we have just done this for 20 years. We're educators. You don't need a salesman. When you find what's going to fit for your needs, you're going to buy it. You don't need a salesman at that point in time. So that's why Woodrow has been so enthusiastic with us when we opened up. And to answer your question, we come out of the construction rental equipment business. And in the construction rental equipment business, you're never a salesman. Everybody walking through the door has a problem. Not unlike today at MIT, everybody walking through the door has a problem. Our goal is to figure out what that problem is and how best we can solve the problem. And once we do that, it all falls into place.
Now, I just noticing what he just said, and again, we're live on Facebook and we're live on Let Go Radio, so this is unfiltered. You know, Richard doesn't look at how can I make money. No time did he say, how can I sell this thing? This is an evaluation process for every individual, able-bodied or differently abled, okay? Because some people come in and they have the disabilities that you cannot see, okay? And this is where it's a process. It's not, well, this one's $30,000, this one's $50,000, let's go for the 30. Well, wait a minute. What do you need? Do you need a built-up accelerator? Do you need a turning knob? Do you need side entry? Do you need rear entry? See, I started working with Richard very early. When I bought, oh man, this was a story and a half. When I bought my first van, Lyle was an individual with a disability. He had a
throat cancer.
Yep. And it had a voice box, and we
Yep.
became great friends. And my very first vehicle with Richard Baldwin was a full size E150. Now this one had a side entry ramp, and it had
Had a lift on it.
lift.
It was full size with a lift, the old lift vans.
Yep. And I love that van. But what I loved about it, and the reason that I bought it, is I needed space because I love to go fishing up at Shenandoah Lake in Waynesboro.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I mean, and it had a bed in it. So the process happened there. You talked about the process. So you worked with Norman at first? Was that right?
Yeah, there's 4 original partners. Norman since is deceased, but there's 3 of us left. Actually, how we got into business was the accounts payable clerk when we were in the rental business. She was polio. She had polio, 1952 polio. Went to Woodrow Wilson, just like you did, DJ. And her husband also went through Woodrow Wilson. They married, but anyway, she used, as you did first, a manual chair. Would slide into the front driver's seat there in an old Ford Galaxy and fold that chair up and throw it behind her. Come to work every day. And as she got older, and again, everything's a process in life, whether you got disabilities or whether you're just got regular abilities, they all disappear as you get old. And Eleanor, as she aged, could not handle the folding up of the chair and get it behind her Ford Galaxy front seat. As a matter of fact, now you could, DJ, if your life depended on it, you could not buy a car today and be able to put a manual chair behind the front seat. It just 4-door cars are unheard of to start with, and there's no room. Yeah, too small. Too small. But anyway, as she progressed, then she went to the power chair like you did, and with a power chair, the Ford Galaxy was of no value. And at that point in time, it just became a big hassle for her getting to and from work. She was a good employee. We couldn't afford not to her come to work. Norman Kaiser, my partner, picked up the paper, saw an organization in Pennsylvania called MITS of Pennsylvania, drove up there, drove up back with a side entry Chrysler van, and we put Eleanor in it and picked her up, brought her to work every day until she passed away. Wow. She passed away. We had a car rental division. We put the van in the car rental division. As you know, Woodrow Wilson on driver ed goes by our store all the time. Somebody in driver ed saw the van, reported back to Woodrow, and the next thing you know, they were on the phone saying, "This has never been seen in the valley. We're so in hopes that this is something that you're going to continue to do." And after about the 3rd phone call of, "Can you put in hand controls and show me a van?" we realized in 2000, this is what we need to do. And so we've been in it ever since. Yep.
Can you define, or would you define, your process of how you evaluate somebody? Not just me. I mean, when you look at it, what are you doing? What exactly are you doing?
As many of your listeners know, but maybe some do not, when you're talking about independence and driving, it does require a certified driver evaluator. And that's what Susan Gray was, DJ, for you. I mean, she looked at vision, she looked at motor control, she looked at the whole package, and determined what was going to work for you as far as hand controls are concerned, and what was going to work for you as far as a vehicle is concerned to make you independent. Now, that is the very first step in the state of Virginia. You can't skip over it. There's no shortcut. You have got to be looked at by a certified driving evaluator. And unfortunately, they're not on every street corner. And Woodrow happens to have 5, and they're the biggest operation in the state of Virginia. But another story another day, DJ, as you well know, with no open case with the Department of Rehabilitation Services, you cannot get through the door. So there are independent ones out there. But that is the first step. Once that's done, a prescription is actually written that says, here's a client, this is what they need to safely operate a vehicle in the state of Virginia. And that prescription is brought to a mobility center such as us, who specialize in looking at the equipment, looking at the evaluation prescription, and then trying to fit the two together and meet as good as they can meet for the proper individual and their needs. So our evaluation goes a step further than what the certified driver evaluator does, in that we've got the whole package now. We've got the driveway, we've got the garage, we've got your way of life, whether you're driving every day, whether you're driving once a week, whether you drive 3 times a month. We look at all of those things. And then, of course, we look at the financial needs and requirements. And we look at where are we going to be 10 years down the road. Because as you know, DJ, you can get short-term solutions to anything.
Yes.
If you know, but as you progress, and we all progress, as I said earlier, things change. And if you're going to invest in a vehicle and you invest in one that's going to handle different chairs as you go through life, going to handle different usages as you go through life, you're money ahead, as opposed to in and out of 3 or 4 or 5 different vehicles as time goes on. So that's where our evaluation comes from. And again, it's all a matter of education. I don't know everything I need to know about you, DJ. When you showed up on the lot, you didn't know everything about vehicles, and the two of us needed to meet somewhere that was common ground. And that's what we do.
That's a great explanation. Thank you, Richard. We've got our first kind of question, and this kind of brings us into the next segment. JP Jackson said this: a challenge I see with vehicle modifications for the disabled is often significantly increase the cost of the vehicle. And there are a lot of people with disabilities that can't afford the additional cost of the vehicle. Some of the mobility vans are just shy of $100,000. Okay. The question that I want to ask you, and just talking to you about it, what makes it so hard, and why are the vehicle modifications so high with the lowered floors to get the vans to do the things that they need to do, the ramps and all of that? How did you kind of come over that, and why is it so high with the modifications?
Well, if we go back pre-2000 in the mobility world, and there's an organization, and again, I would invite all your listeners and all of your followers, always attach yourself to the National Mobile Equipment Dealers Association website. There is a invaluable information that comes up on that website newsletter every month relating to vehicle modifications and dealers and what's in the marketplace. But what had happened is, when the first vehicles are modified, the old E150s like you bought originally, DJ, that they were done by guys like me with a torch and a welder. And we'd actually take a regular E150 and cut the thing up and make it work for a guy like you. We would make it work. We'd build it according to your custom needs. Mm-hmm. However, depending on how good we were, is depending on how much trouble you were going to have after you bought it.
Right.
And then the federal government and the insurance world, bugaboo and everybody's problem, the National Highway Safety and the National Institute for Highway Safety got in on this and said, look, you can't let a guy with a blowtorch and a welder build a vehicle and put it on the road because we don't have a stamp of approval. It doesn't pass the regular highway safety test for a vehicle. And so consequently, when that happened, then the onesie twosie being built were no longer available. When the onesie twosies were built, they were cheap. They were cheap, relative speaking. I mean, yes, they were expensive because you had man hours, but they were cheap, relatively speaking. Mm-hmm. Once that got away, then it went to major manufacturers. And once major corporate America gets into things, there it is. There you have it. They're the only ones that can pass the federal guidelines and tests. They're the only ones allowed to be on the road. And so they demanded higher pricing. They're saying the reason for the higher pricing is, one, it's a limited market. I understand that, and it is. It's not a large, rapidly growing market. It is a limited market in the world of cars, mm-hmm. And so consequently, they had to do a lot of initial testing to pass the National Highway Safety Administration. They have to do that testing almost every year now, because once you're certified on a, say, for instance, if you were certified on a 2005 Chrysler Town and Country LX, and in 2007, that Town and Country was not the same vehicle in the National Highway Safety, and so they had to be retested. And so you're constantly changing your workforce and your tooling back there on the assembly line to fit the next year's model. And
Yes,
that's why you've got all these I think extraordinarily high prices. I mean, this year's basic conversion is approaching $30,000, and that's just the conversion for a lowered floor van. That's a bare bones vanilla conversion, and that's ludicrous if you add that onto a chassis, which cost another $25,000. So there you are. You're at 55 plus before you get out of the gate.
So we're looking at anywhere between 55 to 60,000 just to start.
On plain vanilla, yes. Now, DJ, I probably told you this the first time you rolled on the lot. I may have had 25 vehicles, and one of them was brand new. I'm in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. We're not rich people out here in the Shenandoah Valley. We're just average people that make a good living and pay our bills. And brand new cars is not something that you see a lot of in our mobility world. Other dealers, there's big ones out there, and that's all they sell. They love to put you in those $60,000 cars, but that's not our game. I keep one new one for show for those individuals that are fortunate enough to, one, have a third party pay, whether it be DRS or whether it be the VA or whether it be insurance, or they have extremely good credit and they've had extremely good jobs in the past and don't mind a $600 car payment. That's not really our world. Our world are the good pre-owned vehicles. We pride ourselves in carrying 20 to 25 of those all the time, and that can bring your costs down. And I advertise down there in your area. As a matter of fact, you should see it in the paper every once in a while. We'll carry 8 vehicles that are under $15,000, and that puts you in an ATFLA payment that is almost dirt cheap compared to what you'll find out there.
Now I know this, and this is one of my favorite things about you. You'll go anywhere to anybody that needs a van.
You're right.
You'll drive it down to Portsmouth. You'll let them test it.
Got to.
I mean, I love the way that you do things for people, because this is a people business. It's not so much about money.
Right. That's right. And the van is really in our world. The van is a small part of it. I mean, we've got the service over after the sale, which is as key to you today as it was the first day you bought a vehicle. You depend on that thing. You're an independent driver. You want to go somewhere, and that thing has got to work. And when it doesn't work, well, don't call Enterprise, because I can tell you they can't rent you one. You won't find one. So in our world, the door-to-door service and the door-to-door delivery is very key, as much as the sale is at the initial. Yeah.
Now, you see how he segued me right into my next segment right there? See, that's because Richard.
Me good.
That's because Richard knows me. I want to talk just a little bit about the upkeep of these vehicles. Now, there are not a lot of people. You can't go to a regular dealership and unless it's specified and get these things worked on, because the guys don't know about the conversions. I mean, there's not a lot of them in Virginia. Where do you go to get them maintained, and how do you maintain them?
Great questions, and you've lived through them, DJ. You know exactly what the issues are out there, because these things are loaded with electronical gizmos. I mean, if you think Apollo 12 was highly sophisticated, ride DJ's van, because it probably surpasses that with the number of switches, with the number of solenoids, with the number of transistor boards and so forth. And so consequently, you drive something that special into your local Billy Bob's repair facility and ask him to look at something, he is out of his game. without ever working on a mobility van that's been modified, he's out of his game. And so it causes more problems down the road than you can imagine. And that, again, I go back to the service after the sale. You buy it from me. We have service contracts. That means when you got a difficulty, you've got a problem, you pick the phone up, you call MITS of Virginia, and we handle it. We either pick the thing up and rent you a replacement, or if you've got our service contracts, you can pick the thing up and we leave you a free loaner until we get it back to you. And that is from the front bumper to the back bumper. From the nose to the tail in the cattle world is what they say, from the nose to the tail. It doesn't matter if it was a Chrysler problem or if it is a problem relating to the conversion made by Braun or Vision or Viewpoint or VMI, whatnot. And the reason why is this. We have already educated all of our local dealers that work with us in the Chrysler end, the Ford end, the Toyota end, the Honda end, so that the client comes to us first. We make sure the conversion part is right, or we unhook, if you would, the conversion part so that they can work on their specialty, and that is under the hood for the manufacturer, the OEM stuff. And that way, nothing gets all messed up. And so we've educated those people locally. And unless you have already got a dealer that is an educated dealer that's seen mobility vans, it really becomes a hardship on you trying to use somebody local. And I know it's a hardship when you've got to use somebody that could be as much as 150 miles away, but that's what we do. That's what we do.
I'm going to tell you, and that right there is what sold me on Richard Baldwin and MITS. When I bought both of my vans, that's right, I said two. I've bought every van except the one I have right now from Richard Baldwin. And, of course, the one I have right now is the one I've had the most problems with. But talking about the warranty, the bumper-to-bumper warranty that you initiated for me, to have somebody that I could call at 9 o'clock at night and say,
you had to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 9 o'clock at night, you just realize, hey, my ramp won't come out. What am I going to do?
I mean, and the safety of, look, I know your van's not working right now. We're going to leave you this. I'm going to tell you how good Richard is. I came down to Waynesboro in 2015, and I drove my van down there because I wanted Richard to look at it, because his staff is a certified staff. There are other, dealers that will look at a modified van, and they're okay. Mobility Works is good to a point, but Richard's staff doesn't just look at it. They treat it like a little baby. They go through with a fine-tooth comb and they look and they say this, let's make sure that all these switches are where they need to be, because one thing that goes wrong on this van and you're done. Yep. That's it. Yep. Yep. So he said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your van in. We're going to look at it. We're going to find out what's wrong, and I'm going to leave you with the van. Go where you need to go. I'll get it back to you when we're done. That, to me, is taking care of the customer. And a lot of people don't do that because it's liability. It
costs money. That's right. That's exactly right. That service contract you have, and it's unfortunately, you can't get it at every mobility center, but it is strictly something that we do at MITS of Virginia that allows you the peace of mind going forward to know if I got a problem, it's a one phone call issue. And all I need to do is pick it up and call.
And that doesn't matter where you are, Virginia.
Doesn't matter. If you bought it from me and you got that service contract, it doesn't matter where you're at in the state of Virginia. It does not matter. Now, also, if you have bought it from me and you want me to look at it every 6 months, that is a free service. We give you a free hour of service, and we go through about 110-point checkup every 6 months. All you got to do is pick the phone up, say, Richard, schedule me in, drive up. We'll run you in the shop, run you through those 110. And that goes a long way because we know what bolts, we know what to look for that may be wearing. We know those points of importance that will eliminate a big dollar repair down the road.
I want to ask you this, and I've always wanted to ask you this. You do a, if I'm not mistaken, 12-month or 12,000 mile, right? Is the
Yeah, we do that on probably 90% of everything we sell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember you talked about, going back a little bit, talking about finding the right van. There was a young man that had came in, and he was a young guy, and he wanted to get he was buying a van for his mom, and his mom said, "I don't know if I want to do this." I was in the showroom, and Richard said, "DJ, come here a minute. Would you roll up in this van for this young lady and show her how you turn?" Richard will use what he's got to show that something works. It's never been about money to him. And I think, yes, everybody's got to make money to live, but what we're talking about, that service, that 6-month service that Richard's talking about, they charge just to look at it $98, $99, $149, $169. Yeah. Other companies that do handicap vans, modified vans, they charge those prices, $149.99. Not Richard. If you want somebody that's honest, that knows what he's doing, and that has a staff that is good. And when I say good, I'm talking about those 199-point checkups that he's talking about. There are nodes and wires, and I know all this because Richard has taught me. I've sat in his shop and watched and learned and said, wow, I didn't know that went there. What's that? What's this do? What's that? Because you've got to ask questions to find out.
And DJ, over 20 years, we've realized also that there's a lot of people that move into Virginia and they bought somewhere else, and that's fine and dandy. There's a lot of people in Virginia that buy somewhere else. Have no issues with that because, again, service is very important to us, so much so that we don't really care. If you didn't buy it from me, I'll take care of it, and I'll take care of it with certified staff. We are certified across 7 different manufacturers of mobility vans. And we're not only that, but we're also, like I mentioned earlier, we're affiliated with the National Mobility Equipment Dealer Association, a Class 3 modifier. So, again, one phone call from the nose to the tail. Whether you bought it from me or not, we have a staff that can handle those issues.
And this is something that I wanted to ask you for a long time. A lot of people are intimidated by a big vehicle. A lot of people don't want the full size van. A lot of people want the mini. A lot of people want the Toyota Sienna. That's the new one that I'm looking at, that I'm trying to get. Yeah. Now, you talk about the fit. Is it better and easier to drive a full size or a mini, or is it really customer to customer? And how do you kind of, when you're looking at the fear part of it, do you just go through and show them the differences, basically?
That's the best way. Matter of fact, case in point today, individual in the Fredericksburg area rides a large scooter, and he's a large individual. Mm-hmm. He has the ability to get off of the scooter and get into that driver's seat to drive. However, he wanted a minivan. Have no issues whatsoever, Mr. Customer, driving to Fredericksburg today with a large scooter and a minivan. And you get in it and see how it's going to fit. It doesn't do me a bit of good from the initial onset to say, Mr. Customer, it isn't going to work. Because, hey, DJ, what have you done all your life? You can't do that. What'd you do when they told you can't do that? What did you do, DJ? You went out and did it, didn't you? You did it. It's the same way in the van world. No use telling them you can't. Tell them, let me bring one out and let's try and see what you can do with it. And you'll know, okay, it's a good fit or it's not. It's back to that education process. And most clients, when they first come to us, don't know what they don't know. And so we just help them find out what they need to know.
Because it's a process. It's new. Process. It's new. Now, I want to go back to something you said just a minute ago. Mr. Customer's got a van from a reputable dealership. Just happens to be a 2006. Oh, I don't know. we'll say Buick Terrazza.
Yeah, right.
Just for a
Yeah.
interesting scenario.
Right.
This person's had, couple electrical problems with the van, and he's just not happy with the dealer over here that's been telling him this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. So now you're saying to me that I can come to you and I can say I want a service contract and you to take care of the issue, and now everything is done because I've got the staff that I want. And did I say me? I'm sorry. The person got the staff that they want, and you get a reputable staff. How did you come about with your staff, Richard? How did that work?
Again, most all the staff that I've had is certified through NAMITA, as well as certified through the Braun Corporation, Vantage Mobility out of Phoenix, Viewpoint Vision. We are also service centers for Freedom Motors, which is a direct seller. We're service center for AMS, which is a direct seller. We're service center for Rolex, which is a direct seller. And we pride ourselves on that because these are direct sellers. And they usually, when they sell a vehicle, they tell you to go to your local transmission shop or your local tire shop when you have a problem. If they cannot find a guy like us that does not mind saying, sure, I can handle whatever issue you've got in-house here with certified techs, and I know your equipment. We know Rolexes as well as AMSs. We've in 20 years, we've probably seen them all. And so our staff is knowledgeable. Our staff is also Virginia State Inspection certified, which means that, again, from the nose to the tail, if it comes in and you got an issue with your ramp while it's there and you're 1 month out from inspection, we can do that and get you a state inspection on it at the same time. Oil change at the same time. If you need 4 tires at the same time. The things that we don't do are body work and transmission work. So those 2 things we send out. But again, our staff, well-trained in and knowledgeable in 6 or 7 different platforms out there that really helps moving forward. And the other thing is this, when you're getting ready, let's say you've already owned something like a 2006 Terrazzo and you want to get out from underneath of it because you've got electrical problems forever. We do take those things in on trade. Believe it or not, it does have some money value. So that, and that's another thing that we pride ourselves in doing, and that is a lot of dealers. Hey, if it's not a Braun, we're not interested. If it's not a VMI, we're not interested. If it's not an AML, if it's not this, if it's not that, no, we don't care. If you got to get out from underneath the vehicle and you're looking for a replacement, we can work with your trade-in.
Now, see, to me, that might be an idea, and I think I know who I'm going to call once I get off this interview. Man, we've had a great 30 minutes, almost 40 minutes now, and I want to get into our second part of the interview. Now, you also do DME equipment.
We do.
And you've worked with the hospital beds, the bedside commodes, because our clients, mobility is a key thing in enhancing the quality of life for any of our clients. But there's a lot of other things in life that you've got to have also, you need. And so to attempt to be a one-stop shop, we have a multitude of DME equipment, wheelchairs, beds, you name it. It's on our lot. Now, if you remember the story about the vehicles, I got 1 new one and 22 used ones. On my floor, I have no new wheelchairs, no new scooters, no new DME equipment. It is all pre-owned, and it is usually at dollars, pennies on the dollar cost compared to what brand new cost you. Again, we are affiliated with a couple of loan closets, particularly the ALS Society, as well as our local help, and they have free equipment in the DME line also. So, no matter your financial situation, if there is a way we can assist, we'll be more than glad to.
and save you money at the same time. Yeah.
Good comment here, Richard. Having modified vehicles already on a lot is great. Every time I've had to purchase a car, I feel like I spend a month just researching and making phone calls to ensure that the car I'm choosing can be modified. Unfortunately, there are not universal kits for every car.
Yeah, good, great point. Great point. It used to be years ago, all of these manufacturers that were not direct sellers. In other words, you bought it off the internet and they dropped it in your driveway and said, adios, glad doing business with you, and gone. There used to be what they called field reps, and these field reps drove all over the world. And they drove the model of car that they were working for. So if you were interested in a 2020 Braun Intervan, there was what they called field rep, and he drove a 2012, the newest model year Braun Intervan, and he'd drive it right up to your house, show you what's going on, and so forth. Well, that went by the wayside. Cost in these manufacturers and cost and everything goes out, and they just plain old did away with it, which was really it was a bad choice in my opinion, because just like your viewer there, the proof's in the pudding, and if you can't see what you're looking for, you're not going to buy the thing. You don't want it. And so again, back to why we've got so many different makes, models, and years is you have the ability to see it before you buy it. It's just very key. Hey, direct sellers are great, but I want to tell you, I am not a fan of DJ Carter going on the internet and looking at a good picture of a daggone 2020 Chrysler Town Country and say, that's the car for me. Push the button, put it in my shopping cart, and write them a check and have it delivered. I'm not a fan of that. It just doesn't work out a large percentage of the time. It doesn't.
And see, you've since the first time I met you back in 2001, you've never been a salesman to me. You've been an educator to say, look, I have an idea. Let's look at this and let me let you see the differences between side entry and rear entry. This is why you use rear entry. This is why you use side entry. It's the knowledge that a person has when they buy from you, they know they're getting a good product. And the service contract behind the deal that they make ensures that they get a good product no matter what happens. And I'm going to tell you this, I've never seen another dealership or another company do what you've done. I think NHTSA Virginia is the only company in Virginia that does it the way you do it. And if it ain't broke,
don't fix it. That's right. Yeah. Well, it again, it goes back to our basis of being in the rental equipment business. Service is all we've got to sell. Service is it. I mean, what I do, what I sell, you can get it anywhere you want. But the service that we provide is what we hang our hat on, and it's something that we've promoted year in and year out. As a matter of fact, as an aside, I mentioned the ALS Society, DJ, and as you well know, ALS is a devastating disease. And the first van I ever sold, that van that Eleanor had, that after she passed away, we put in a rental fleet. Then I sold it to an ALS patient. That was the very first van I sold. And I saw what devastating changes ALS does to individuals. And unfortunately, hey, we got a call back from the husband 2 years later. The wife passed away. I mean, it's such a debilitating disease. It is short time lifespan. And so knowing that, we have always worked with ALS clients through our buyback program. You buy a van from us, ALS client, through us, then we will guarantee a buyback at the day and time that you decide you do not want or don't need the van. And that we call it service. And that's what it is. What's a family going to do with a van when they no longer need it? They got to go through the hassles and so forth of getting rid of it. And gracious day, you and I both know Little old lady that owns a wheelchair van doesn't want to be putting it on Facebook or the internet trying to sell it herself. Just doesn't know, it doesn't happen. Doesn't work out well.
And to me, it goes above and beyond service. It's caring about people.
Well, we do. Yeah, our staff is built that way.
I've known Rick and the rest of you, and you've got some new guys now. Man, I got to get in there and get some handshakes. I ain't been down since 2015, but I mean, to buy back a van, that's
it's unheard of. It's unheard of. It's not. Yeah, it's unheard of now. Now, I'm not going to sell an ALS customer a $52,000 Chrysler 2020 either. I mean, let's all be reasonable. I'm going to educate them and say, look, this is reality. This is what we want to go from point A to point B. It's not how you look on Sunday. It's whether you get there on Sunday or not. That's all the key is.
Because the van ain't going into church. It's going into the parking lot.
That's exactly right, buddy. Yeah.
I just want to ask you this. You've never really seen a person that you've never looked and said a person can't do something. I've always loved that about you as my friend, and you're willing to go the extra mile. If you don't know the answer, you'll find out. If the finance issue, if they don't have the finances, well, let me get you into this. Let me introduce you to the APFLA. Let me introduce you to Woodrow. Let's go talk to DRS. Let's go see what happens. Have you ever thought about expanding down to the Hampton Roads area?
I get questions all the time. I got clients in Northern Virginia. I've got clients at Winchester. I've got clients down in the Dragon Tail. And everyone I'm saying, Richard, if you opened a store down here, you could save some money. Well, let me tell you, I really can't. By the time it's brick and mortar, by the time you pay all your overhead, and then by the time you find, and this is the key, I got to duplicate my staff in multiple locations. And that is hard to do, DJ. That's what I'm worried about when you get the big corporate America in anything. They've got a plan of a business plan to move forward with, but the people are the key. And it's just very, very hard to duplicate caring individuals in locations where you're not there every day. And so I elected to do it the way I did it. It does cost more money. However, again, at the end of the day, I went home knowing I made somebody's day, and that's what I come to work for. So that's our perspective on it, really.
Now, I told you I had a question for you. at the end of the show, and I don't think I've ever asked you this, but I'm going to ask you because I love you to death. Now, there will be a time when Richard says, okay, this is it. I'm going to retire. I hope that time never comes in my lifetime. But you want, and I would think you want MITS of Virginia to keep going. And you just said it. The staff is the key.
The staff is the key. So, you're exactly right. Yeah.
In my opinion, there will never be another Richard Baldwin because there's only one. Just like there's only one DJ. Thank God for that. I don't think I can handle two. What do you do in a situation like that where you still want to keep it going and you still want what you do for people to imprint the rest of their lives? How do you keep MITS going when you're no longer there? Is that something you've thought about?
Yeah. And really, we as humans do what we see. You know what I'm saying? We do what we see. My staff sees the way that I project myself to clients. My staff sees the way that I handle the phone calls and so forth, and they mimic that. And knock on wood, I got 10 people on staff that have been mimicking that now for 10 to 15 years. They know what MITS is about. They know what our clients are going to expect. And again, at the end of the day, I pride myself in telling you that each one of my people go home knowing they have made somebody's day, and that's why they showed up for work. That's it. That's true. Believe me, I don't pay that much. So consequently, they're not working there for money. They're not working. They're working there because I've got the greatest bunch of social workers in the world right there at MITS of Virginia. That's what it amounts to. Yeah.
I've got two questions left, but actually I've got a couple more, and the boss lady's up here, so I'm sure if we need to go a few minutes over, she won't mind. I'm hoping that Miss Winnie will jump up here for the last couple of minutes of the show, but would you mind sharing one of your proudest moments or a great story that you remember, just with an individual or somebody that really made you happy, or something that made you happy through a van experience or MITS experience? Would you mind sharing that?
I mentioned to you before the show, as a matter of fact, an individual that I am sure you'll get to know, because the two of you are just cut out of the same cloth. But I had a fella that was local, and he went to the local high school, and did not go through Woodrow Wilson, was going mainstream to the local high school, and under the care of the Virginia Education, and they, unfortunately, DJ, as you well know, DRS and the Virginia, somewhere along the line there's a disconnect. People don't get communicated and introduced to where they need to be introduced, and so. I was contacted because I was personal friends of his counselor in the high school, and the counselor said, "Hey, I got this kid. He's getting ready to go to college. Has no transportation, limited funds, and he cannot drive. Can't drive." First thing I say is, "Does anybody at DRS know this kid?" Well, no, they don't. DRS has never been in touch with him. He's 17 years old, getting ready to graduate from a local school, and DRS, he's not under the DRS umbrella. So that takes a month of Sundays to get under, as you well know, DJ, and you never want to get out from under it once you're under it, if you can get under it. But because of my affiliation with Woodrow Wilson, there was a retired, and I want to say, no, she was polio also. There was a retired counselor, had a full-size van, similar to what you had. When she retired and could no longer drive, she picked the phone up. She said, "Richard, I got my van, and what I want you to do is find somebody that needs it.
Boom.
Don't write me a check. I don't want it. I just wanted you to get it in somebody's hands." And that came up in about 2 weeks after I had that phone call from that high school counselor. And so I put the two of them together. You could not imagine the smile on that kid's face when he rolled up that lift and got in that full-size van, and somebody drove him off home. It's just one of those made in heaven remarks that it all came together good. And since then, DJ, we have been able to do that 3 other times. But it again, when you got clients that you treated right, and they know what we do, they don't have a problem picking the phone up and saying, "Richard, look, I got this nice Permobil chair, insurance paid for it. I no longer need it. Can you pick it up and make sure it gets to somebody's house that needs it desperately?" And we get those calls quite frequently on vans, as well as chairs, as well as other DME stuff. And they all do that because, we just have the end users perspective in mind, and it just works. It just works. Yeah, makes us feel good to do it.
You shared yours, and if you don't mind, I want to share mine. You remember that I used to work at Intellos, and it was snowing one time, and I'd went through everybody in my contact list, and it was snowing hard. I mean, it was hailing, it was icing, it was just the ground was covered, and I couldn't stand up to get in the car. I called Richard, and I said, "Richard, I can't get home." He said, "Give me 20 minutes. And I mean, just you talk about being able to go the extra mile. You realize what people need. And that's right. I think that's the link that's missing. It's not about selling a vehicle for $55,000. It's not about getting the newest and greatest vehicle with all the buttons that you can push, because those buttons can also break down. It's about what fits the individual. Does their chair have enough room? Can they turn? Can they rotate? How do they transfer? Do their hands open and close? How do they drive? Why do they drive? How far are they going? You evaluate all that. And it just, I am daggone proud to know you. And I'm telling you, you have changed my life in the 20.
Well, now hold on. I'm not taking credit for all that, because if you remember the I am able. You remember the I am able story?
Impossible.
You can't. That's right. I am possible.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Carter came to me with that story, and I've repeated that story numerous times.
Yeah.
I don't have a disability. I was told so many times during life that no, you can't do that. That's not possible. And by George, DJ Carter had the fortitude to say, no, wait a minute. I'm going to turn this around. I am possible. And look where you've come from it. I can't take all the credit. You've got it right there in your head, buddy. You've got it in your heart and desire to do it. And if I had more clients like you, I'll be honest, life would be much easier on my part, because you can't imagine how many people come to me and tell me what they can't do when they come rolling in the door.
Well, and the thing about it is, again, Richard will ask me, DJ, can you help me with this website? This doesn't look right. Mm-hmm. What about, can you help me with, he'll call me. And what I'm able to do for him, I'm going to do, because Richard's done the same thing. See, it's about the cycle of people. Mm-hmm. We're in the business of helping people. This is not about money. As soon as I bought my first van from Richard, I became employed with MITS. Now, am I listed under his payroll? No. Am I listed? Am I working there every day? No. But can he call me and say, hey, can you come show this van? Do I know how to show his vans? Yes. Do I know how to show his service equipment and show, how to do certain things? Do I demo vans for him? Yes, because it's about showing people, if he can do it.
That's right.
The I am possible. Now that right there, 2 weeks after I told you that story, remember what you told me? You were driving down to Charlottesville, and what did you see on the license plate? I am possible. When it passed you, you called me on the road when you saw that. That was a testimony at church that I had wrote when I was going to Fisherville United Methodist down there, and what a memory that was. Do you have a motivational word that you'd like to share to our viewers on Let Go and Facebook Live?
Hey, you just said it. When you wake up every morning, you realize I am possible. And that gets you through a tremendous amount of strife and tribulation. It really does. Your mental attitude when you wake up is something no one can take away from you. And the more positive you can make it, the better your day is going to be. I am possible is something that you ought to trademark and get a bumper sticker for, DJ, and get that thing out.
Yeah, and Miss Winnie just texted me and said no rush, so we got a little bit of time. I just I look at this and it's so valuable. The pieces that fit together, the ATFLA, DRS, knowing where to go. Crystal asked a question here, and I wanna read this aloud, because this is a beautiful comment, and this is one that happens a lot. So let me just share this real quick. I know what I'm doing van-wise now. Is there a company? Is there a company that cares like him in the home buying process? It is a nightmare for truly disabled folks. So now here it comes. Crystal says, all right, can Richard expand into
in the real estate market? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's I sat on the board at Woodrow many years ago, and this was 15 years ago. That was a big bugaboo now, and it is still equally as big a bugaboo, even though there was a big push, if you remember, in the home building area as far as universal building is concerned. Remember that was you don't even hear about that anymore, and it's unfortunate because it solved a lot of problems, both with individuals that have special needs, as well as individuals that were just aging in place. And it's a nightmare. There is virtually no inventory out there. And DJ, you've been through this too. Just because it said it was handicapped
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yes,
whole
sir.
nother
How
hour
many
show.
times you've been traveling on the road and you called up the motel and said, "Hey, I need a room, but I'd like to have it handicapped." Sure, I've got 3 of them. Come right on in. Yeah, yeah. And the first thing you got there realized, how in the Sam Hill do I turn this wheelchair around in this bathroom? I mean, you know, and that's the way it is in the real estate world. Oh, lands, yeah, they're handy. Yeah, these are accessible houses. These are accessible houses, and the
I can
bathroom
get the
doors
door.
28 inches wide. It just it is. My heart goes out to anybody that has to be out there in the real estate market, because if you thought vans are expensive, modifying a home is
Well,
truly an expense if you have to do it.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it out loud because I feel it. I believe that you help modify lives. I really do. I think you and your staff are wonderful people, and you've never, like I said, the almighty dollar. To me, I've heard money makes the world go round, but I'm going to tell you what: if the people weren't here, who would make the money?
Nothing.
Remember,
That's exactly right. Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
very first question that you asked me in 2001, because I kept saying, well, the van costs so much.
Yeah.
I'm never going to
Yeah.
be able to afford that. I said,
Yeah.
I don't know. You looked at me and you said, if the people weren't here, who would make the money? So it's
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
people and what they need. Let me ask you this, Richard, and I told you that I would. If you are able, would you just share a couple of ways, and if you don't mind, that people could get in touch with you? How we could
Sure.
actually get in touch? Because we got people.
Yeah.
How do I get in touch? How do I get in touch? The comments are running. So,
of course, I can always call you because you got a hotline right into the office. Now I got to. Hey, wait a minute. I got to back up because I want to clarify one thing. You're gonna get me in trouble. That just because I showed up when it was snowing and took you to work, that is not a normal service that we provide for all of my clients. Tell them the truth. You were only a mile away from the store and you only drove a mile to get to work. So it was not that big a deal. So don't let that out. I can't drive all over the world, take people to work. I can't do that. So,
but
just
you would
happened
if
to
you
work.
could, though.
But it was vital to you to get there, and it was just something I could do, so I didn't mind doing it. To get in touch with us, and thank you for asking, because I am somewhat proud of our website, www.mitsofva.com. We've just revamped that thing in the last 6 months. It has done tremendous for us. I do carry, DJ, following you, I do carry a small blog on that, the Mobile Lifestyle Advisor column, which is question and answer. So if any of your listeners ever have any questions, feel free to email us through mobility@Intelos. And how do you spell that, DJ?
NTELOS.
You got it, Intelos.net. Why they ever came up with that name, I don't know. You should have changed it before you started, because no one spells it that way. No one. No.
Mm-hmm.
But you can email through mobility@Intelos.net. Go on our website, www.mitsofva.com. And then our toll-free number, 800-420-6470, which I can almost guarantee you a live person will answer, which is key to us also. Yeah.
Okay. Richard, hang with us just a minute as we end the show, because I know Miss Winnie wants to get up here and talk with you if she's got a minute. So hang with us just a minute. Guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and the questions that have come in. I will have Richard back again. This is such a busy man. It took me about a year to get him, but daggone, we're going to do it again because he's got so much vital information. But I think the key to take out of this is never give up. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. Set your altitude high, use your mind, and show people what you can do. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 52 of My CP Does Not Define Me. I am affiliated with Kelly's Choice Inc., and we are live on www.letgoradio.net. You can catch us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on letgoradio.net and Facebook Live. You can catch me on all major social media: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. My CP Does Not Define Me is the main source of the brand. You can catch me on my blog at CarterDJ85 at Wix.com. mycp.com. But remember, anything that you want, you have to work for. You can't get things handed to you in life without some sort of effort. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back with you next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for My CP Does Not Define Me. Have a great week, everybody.